guys, this is Kamigono, and today I'm doing a review for Teen Wolf, and this is the second and last episode for Season 4, so let's start talking about it. I gotta say, for this episode, there's a lot of mini-stories going on. Usually with Teen Wolf, you'll see at least like 3 characters doing something, and 3 different story arcs, or 4, usually for a drama, you usually see 4 different story arcs going on in an episode. But with this, you get to see a lot of little story arcs. Definitely not bigger arcs, but progression for each character. But the big thing is that it's the first lacrosse game of the season, and guess who's not there to play? Kira and Scott, because they got in a fight with Kate and some of her berserkers. Now, Kira falls down, she is not able to defeat the berserkers, and she gets kidnapped in another area, and we don't know what's going to happen to her, but we know by the end of this episode that Scott, spoiler alert, is going to be turned into a berserker. So he's going to have to defeat his friends. Now, the other stories going on with different characters, we do have some of the money story. That's been a big theme for the season, which I feel like it's been a little forced. But the big theme of the season has been money, so you get to see that with Melissa and Scott in this episode. Also, we get to see Peter and Malia talk again, and Peter wants Malia to be on his side and kill Kate. Now, will Malia turn to the dark side and do this to find out who her mother is? Because Peter agreed to tell who the mother is, and obviously in Mexico we'll probably see that because that's where the season finale is going to be. Also, Liam's having these nightmares, delusions about berserkers, probably because of the full moon coming. So that's been Liam's story, his struggle. Lydia is not in this episode too much, but she screams a lot, so you know something's gonna happen. Also, Chris Argent finally in the episode, and he gets stuck to the wall. Peter almost kills him, and we got Parrish trying to help him and talking about Allison in this episode, which when I get to the review portion of this episode, I'll talk about that. But we get to see, will Chris be alive? Because that metal thing was stuck in his body for a little while. So are we going to see him alive or not? Are we going to get someone dead? Because Lydia did predict it. There was a scream. Who is going to die? So that's pretty much the big stories going on in this episode. Honestly, I like the episode. I really like the small moments. You know, Malia and Stiles and Sheriff Stilinski going out to dinner, and Malia saying she wants deer, that's her favorite food. So like those little small things. Kira and Scott finally having a date even though it's interrupted. So little things in this episode were really good. And even Liam trying to rekindle his friendship with, I can't even think of his name because we haven't seen his character that often. But with his friend, he's trying to rekindle his friendship. So I like those little things. And there's a lot of little things because, like I said, every character had a story here. It wasn't really just, here's the main story arc going on. It's just really everyone having a story. And it usually doesn't happen too much in Teen Wolf. Usually they're all working together, but I felt like a lot of the characters had separate stories. And I think that's why this episode progressed so slowly. I like the episode. It's a good build-up. But usually the second to last episodes for Teen Wolf are a little bit bigger, and this episode felt a little less than a lead up to a finale and just a regular episode, and I think that's what really disappointed me. It didn't get me so pumped up for the finale until those last couple of minutes. The whole episode as a whole, though, was just small progressions. Not saying that's a bad thing, but just abnormal for Teen Wolf. Usually there's definitely more of an explosive ending. Of course, we had those last couple of minutes, which were pretty explosive, but not the whole episode. The whole episode was kind of a slow steam, a slow sizzle. But yeah, there's a couple of things I definitely liked, and also prediction of who's gonna die. My guess, it has to be Chris Argent. Just seeing this episode, him obviously getting punctured by this metal object, I do think he's gonna die just because there's not much for Chris to do anymore without Allison. I think Chris didn't die in that finale from last season, obviously because Allison died and that would be too much death, and also because he was going to have Isaac and they were going to have some sort of story, and it seems like the writers don't really know what to do with Chris. As much as I love Chris and, you know, Chris Argent, it just doesn't seem like he's going to be doing much. Maybe because Kate's still around, he'll be able to do stuff, but I don't think he's going to be survived that longer just from this season, and just it seems empty without Allison, and I'm glad finally they mentioned Allison, and someone cared that she died. So we do get to see a little bit more mourning in this episode, and I know the fandom is a little upset that we haven't gotten to see a lot of mourning, so it's cool that at least Chris kind of remember Allison was around. Now, I'm not even a humongous Allison fan, I just think we should have gotten some more mourning. I've actually mentioned this a lot in my reviews. Also, Parrish having those eyes. A lot of people are thinking he's a Phoenix. I have a feeling he's a Phoenix also, but we'll love to see what it means to be a Phoenix in Teen Wolf. I've grown to love Parrish's character. I think he's a minor character who just became a great secondary character, so I'm glad that development went really well. So excited to see what's going on with Parrish. I have a feeling we might find out in the season finale. It just seems like those eyes are leading up to it. The finale, you know, the last couple of moments with Scott becoming a berserker, I think that's really cool. Not because he's becoming a berserker, not because it's Kate, but because he's gonna have to go against his friends. And we've seen that before, but not totally going against his friends in the finale. We've always seen like little sneak peeks of that, or oh yeah, he's gonna go to like the Alpha team, but then he doesn't end up going to the Alpha team. But this is like totally he's gonna be becoming a berserker and probably having to fight his friends, and how's his friends gonna fight him? So I think that's a really interesting twist, and a lot of this is about loyalty and power this season. Especially with Peter. You can't trust Peter at all, especially, I don't think Malia trusts Peter. That's gonna be an interesting little tidbit next episode, see what Malia does. Will she follow her father? Is she that desperate to know who her mother is? But going back to it, it's a lot about loyalty, power, and money this season. Again, not totally fond of the money story arc. But yeah, it's kind of cool to see that, especially with two great characters like Kate and Peter that's always looking for power. But one of my favorite things about Kate this episode was definitely her talking about the Argent family, saying, Scott, you destroy the Argent family, and now I'm going to have to destroy you. So Kate definitely has a really great motive to wanting to kill Scott. But yeah, overall, I do think it was spread a little bit too thin with some of the stories. I think they were concentrating on too many characters. There wasn't enough build up to that last episode, but there were still some really great small moments, and I think something that has been missing this season is seeing the Scooby Gang together. I think there's been a lot of separate stories, like Stiles with Malia, Lydia by herself half the time, but I really want to see this group fight together, and I think that's something they're going to have to do with the finale or the next season, because that's what I felt like was missing with this season. But please tell me in comments below what you thought about the episode. Of course, I'm super excited about the finale. I just want to see what direction they're going to go with the show. Hopefully the show comes back in during the winter. I know they have it planned for the winter, but I don't know if it's this winter or next winter, so we'll have to see. But hope you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Uno, and don't forget to follow me on Twitter for Comic Uno and the Rant Situations, and don't forget to like my Facebook page. Also, don't forget to follow my comic book, Like Father, Like Daughter. That's in the description below also. And of course, I'll have a review for Teen Wolf next week. It might be a couple hours late though, just depending on my class, so it won't be right after the episode like usual. It might be like an hour or two late, but I will have the episode review up. So hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.